your t-shirt.
This is a present. I got it yesterday.
It's really nice. I have been looking at it. It's got what, hummus on it?
Yeah. It says spread hummus, not hate.
It's a beautiful message. Beautiful. But doesn't it make you hungry? Like,
well, I'm not looking at it, so no.
I think, unfortunately, as diverse as we are, we're not inclusive, and it's something I definitely do fight for in the workplace and the conversations I have. But it's small instances like workplaces still don't have a prayer room or a room for mums, or a room that you can go if you have a migraine. They just don't.
Just a quiet place.
Yeah, exactly. They're not as inclusive, but also, I absolutely dislike this whole culture of there's the set holidays and these ones we either don't acknowledge or that we're quite ignorant about, or for example, the lack of education around it. Like in all the workplaces I've been in so far, I very much brought it up with my managers and with even HR to an extent to say, hey, well, don't you think it'll be a more kind of inclusive culture if we gave people at least one religious holiday a year, if we gave them time off when they are doing maybe something religiously. That's not to say, obviously, religion tells you to do this whilst you're working, but for some people it's really difficult and they don't necessarily want to miss out. So I have tried to make that point of, giving someone an extra day a year of annual leave when they want to take it, either for Eid or for like, any other kind of like festivals. Diwali, for example, might just be a nicer way to do things, and yet it's just not reciprocated the same way.
And it's interesting because every single company is different, because some companies will be open to that and will already have something in place. Like for Eid, they'll be happy to give people days off and they'll actually bring in samosas and stuff. But in other companies, the culture just doesn't exist. You just get Christmas and that's it. But the understanding that Christmas is not Christmas for everyone is very deep rooted. And with London, it's such a multicultural city. I don't understand how it's not already a thing.
That's what I mean. Like I understand like Christmas is a bank holiday, right? Everyone takes it off, and obviously we live in a Christian or Catholic society, Church of England, right? Take it off, but let's be respectful and for me it's more around, let's lead and pave the way for other cultures, other traditions, and other countries to follow. Like we can really set the scene, giving one extra annual leave a year for religious holiday, or acknowledging that someone's going off for Eid is not. It's only going to make your employees happier and make you better, rather than people having to both fight it or protest it. I know because
or lie about it.
Yeah, because I've worked in corporate for 5 years now. I remember there's plenty of times where people just don't understand, they don't acknowledge. Like it's not that you shouldn't eat. I'm not saying don't eat in front of someone who's fasting, but you should acknowledge that they're going through something, and so you should just be a bit more mindful and equally curious, ask the right questions. And for workplaces, it goes on to the whole, it even goes deeper. So when you have like workplace socials, or you have, team bonding exercises, don't do it after work. Don't do it related around food. Definitely don't do it around alcohol. Like, come on, we've moved past that. And outside of religion, young people are just drinking less. So nobody wants this. Not, I say nobody, like the majority actually don't want it anymore. And yet it's the senior stakeholders in the workplace that are so stuck in their ways.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's no catering to every single person. It always seems to be catering for the top, and everyone is meant to follow suit. But you made an interesting point, which I was going to bring up as well. It's the willingness to be open and asking the right questions and learning, as opposed to being like, oh, we're a Christian country, that's it, we just do Christmas. Going out there and understanding, okay, we do have other religions and traditions, and they are just as important as Christianity or any other religion that you're.
Yeah, I mean, even going into religion is quite a deep topic for me, but we're a Christian country because the majority, let's say, follow a singular faith, or we tick that box. And I actively call, there's religious and there's tick box religious, and I think, I'm just going to leave it there, not go into depth. But the point being that we are multicultural, we're multi-dynamic, we have different faces, we're a multifaceted society, and we try and represent ourselves as this like very modern, really open society for you to come and live and breathe and bred in, but under our rules. And I don't mean ours, like obviously not mine, but I mean like under these specific rules, which means actually, regardless of what I say in the workplace, flexible working definitely exists, but not when you want to go home early because you've got duties as a carer, or you've got duties out of religion, or you're culturally, you have to. Like, I remember in my first workplace, my mother was unwell, and so the the night before, I messaged my manager just being like, hey, I need to work from home tomorrow because I need to take my brother to school and bring him back. That's not going to affect my work day, right? Like, school opens before 9 o'clock, so I can be online for 9 and I can go get my brother and not take a lunch break and bring him back. And she sent me this really long, really aggressive text being like, well, you know, this is not how we do things. Flexible working are for the seniors. That's not your child, so you should get a nanny in, or you should take a day off. And I'm just thinking, you don't understand my culture. Like, it might not be my child, but it is my child. And if my mother's unwell, I'm the oldest in the family. I'm second mum. So who else is going to take my siblings to school if it's not me? And I had to take a day off, but the point was that they just didn't get it, like, because I wasn't a mum, or the fact that wasn't my child. You know, even outside of like the religious box, the, you know, inclusive cultures just do not exist, and I fight for that every day, and every day I call people out on it.
And you should, because that's the only way it's going to change. Because if they're not listening, you're going to have to make them listen. Because everyone is so comfortable in the way that they are right now, you know? No one's questioning anything. That's just the way things are. And even people who do need days off like that are not going to fight it because of the fear of, you know, losing their job or not being liked in the company. And it's a really hard decision to make, and not everyone can stand up to management like you can.
I worked really hard to break down that communication barrier with my parents, so I started involving them in a lot of more conversations, including everything from my education to the friends I was meeting. I started introducing them to my friendship group, and basically involve them in my life, and started really telling them things. And so they would start understanding, and they themselves evolved. And then my brother did the same, and then by the time it came to my little sister, like, she tells them absolutely everything. And I have to say, I'm very, despite, like, you know, what I just said about my mum, like, I absolutely love them because I think my parents have really progressed. They're not like the traditional parents by any means, and not anymore.
That's
they're
good.
very open-minded. But that's not, you know, like, for example, now it literally gets to the point where I'm home in bed on Friday at like 9 p.m. My mum's out with her friends, and there used to be a point where me or my brother used to have to wake up and stay up till like 3 a.m. and my mum was just rocking in from the cinema and from the restaurant, and we're like, where are you? She's like, dosto ke saath mein baith thi. I was like, on a Friday you're home at 3 a.m. Where did you go? Why, who were you with? What were you doing? She's like, main aapki maa hu. It's like, it doesn't matter. Why? I was in bed at 9 p.m. Who are you out with? What did you do? Who did you meet? Where did you go? What did you eat? What movie did you watch? Tell me the storyline. Show me the ticket.
That is absolutely bizarre to me, to be able to even ask my mom that. But what's more bizarre is the fact that my mom would have friends where she would actually go out till 3 a.m. with them, unless there was a wedding.
My mom's cinema times are like 11 p.m. and onwards. She used to have an unlimited cinema pass, so my mom's best friend and her would literally go, and I genuinely got to the point where we'd message her and we'd be like, where are you? Why aren't you home? Why aren't you home? Why aren't you home? And then we'd like ring up my auntie the next day and be like, were you with her? Obviously, she was with her, and obviously we were just overreacting. Obviously, my dad was like cool with it, but as kids, I was like, how comes in my early 20s I'm at home on a Friday night and you're out? You've got 4 kids like at home.
You're like, why is my mom more popular than me?
Yeah, it blows.
You're just salty. You're just salty. It's fine. Don't worry, I would be too, because I have no friends.
We're friends.
Yeah, but we would never go out at 3 a.m. together because we both like being in bed at 9 p.m.
No, I just can't fathom anymore being out past like 11 p.m. I just can't do it. I just think there's no need. I'd rather wake up early and could be at the house like 7 a.m. and then go for a really nice breakfast and spend my day. But I kind of want to be home at like 10 p.m. So even now,
I'm like that.
Yeah,
I'm
even
like that.
now, like going to a club, I I'm just not gonna do it. It's just beyond me.
Once in a while, I will want to do it, but majority of the time, or even that would take me a lot of convincing. It depends who's going and what we're going for and where we're going. And even then, if I don't have fun, I will literally just be like, okay, I'm gonna go now. 10 p.m. Don't care, gone. But most days, I literally want to be home. That's how I have fun. I'm in my house and I will watch a good movie. I might sleep early. I might do a face mask. I don't know. I will have fun though. It's me.
I feel like I don't know. I'm not saying I don't feel like I'm old, because I'm not, because obviously like my mom's older than I am and she's having more fun. But I definitely feel like I have lived a really good fun going out life, and now I'm really happy to be comfortable and like take care of myself and enjoy myself and my time at home. Which,
when you say going out, like you've had a really good going out life, do you mean like clubbing and stuff? You've had enough of that, is what you mean?
yeah, so I spent a whole year in Italy, right? So not here, but I did my Erasmus for 9 months in Italy. And so I was an exchange student. So you went to university in the morning and then you went out at night time. And Europeans party hard. So they party from like 11 p.m, 12 p.m. till like 5 a.m, 6 a.m. Yeah. So there was one straight week. And because I don't drink, I had so much energy, and I also already have so much energy that people are like, where do you get it from? And so there was a point in that whole week where I was the only one at my all my housemates who was like going out. So I'd go out, leave the house at 11 p.m, go out the whole night, come back at 6 a.m, go in shower, go to uni, do my lessons, come back and then start again. And I did that for like 7 days straight. And I went on.
I'm feeling sick just thinking about that.
Yeah, but and then I went on 2 party vacations that you go on with students. So genuinely God. For 5 days straight, there were. I think it's ridiculous now that was me, but for 5 days straight, we went to the south of Sicily, and it was like 700 students, and so you had like wristbands with different colors. And so your colour would know when to go for breakfast. You go for breakfast, then you go get changed, then there'll be a morning pool party. Then you'll have lunch, then you go get changed, then there'll be a morning pool party but at a different pool. Then you'll have dinner, then you'll go get changed, and then there'll be a nighttime party which took you straight to breakfast. So I did that for 5 days straight. That was the I've had so much fun, thank God, that I just don't need to do it anymore, because I've done it so excessively, but in a really short period of time, because I think I told you before, but I wasn't allowed to stay at my house till I was 20 when I went to Italy, so 20 and 21. So I've never lived at my house, and then I went and lived in Italy, then I went partying for like 9 months and studying for 9 months and traveling for 9 months, and then I came back and I was like, Mom, I don't want to leave your house. I love you. Please, keep me here.
Oh my God. But do you speak Italian?
Yeah, so when I was there, I picked up intermediate Italian. So my first semester I spoke nothing, and then my second semester I was like, what am I doing? So I decided to take all my lessons in Italian without knowing anything. And so I just challenged myself, and I used to go to like every cafe and be like, how do you say this in Italian, and how do you say this? But then but obviously that was 5 years ago, so I haven't like necessarily practiced. And then I made a lot of Spanish friends. So now my brain goes between Italian and Spanish when I speak, so I can understand quite a lot of it, but verbally having to practice is quite difficult. So when I went to Spain, I could say like the basics and get around quite easily, and same with like Italy. But it's definitely something I need to practice more. But yeah, so it was a great experience, and I would recommend living and studying abroad to every single person I meet.
I want to do that. Technically, I was abroad, but I was with my family, so it was shit. Because throughout uni, I just never partied. I remember I went to one party, and my last train was at 11 something, so I had to leave at 10:30 to get that train. It didn't even count. I just didn't do anything. The only time I actually started partying was like after I graduated, definitely. And that was, but I'm kind of glad, because then I was a lot more mature and I knew how to handle myself. So I never got to a point where, I'd see girls who were my age when I was in uni, and they'd just be a complete mess. And I just never wanted to be like that. And I came to a point where I was mature enough and I could handle myself enough. So I actually had a really good time, but I knew when to stop and go home.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of glad that I did that. Whereas I remember, you know, in first year, second year, people would be like, oh, why don't you drink? And I'd be like, because I don't want to. Is it religious? Yeah, a little bit, but a lot of people who are religious drink, so not really. I mean, I just don't want to.
That's a whole different conversation.
and-
Probably shouldn't have that one during Ramzan. But
Yes.
yeah, a lot of people
oh,
who are
I feel
religious
prick.
smoke and drink, actually. So
I love how it's, but they'll have halal meat. They'll have halal meat with their red wine.
it's so bad. When I was younger, and like when I was younger, and when I was in secondary school, sorry, all the boys literally used to be like, and I say boys because the majority of them, they were the ones going to the mosque, so they used to be like, right, so we're gonna go pray and then we're gonna go meet up with the boys and we're gonna go smoke. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, curiosity, I was like, is that okay? Is that not okay? They were like, yeah, it's not in the mosque. Like we're outside of mosque territory. I was like, I just don't think that's what this month is about. But okay.
That's a different kind of Taravi, bro. But yeah, that's I've had a lot of people like that, but no, the halal meat is something that gets me every time because I've been to restaurants with people and they'd be like, is your meat halal? And they'll be like, yeah, and then they'll order red wine with it and I'm just like, okay, do you? I don't care.
I think
Doesn't matter.
some people's perspective is you try and do a little bit. So, for example, when Lent comes, as an example, you know, traditionally people do 40 days of fasting when it's Lent. But you can't do that, or some people don't want to do that, and so they kind of give up something in return in that time or during that time. Same with I know plentiful Hindus who don't want to go vegetarian, but they're like, okay, every Tuesday I think, or every Friday we're veggie or we're vegan, or is it every Monday? So like 1 or 2 days a week we're like vegetarian or vegan. So they try and do the small bits that you can to get there.
And that's why I don't like judge anyone like that. It's because I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, do what you have to do, fine. But I do find it a bit ridiculous, but I laugh at myself about it. But it is funny because everyone has a different level, and it's such a broad spectrum. It's so interesting, and there's a lot of people who you just wouldn't expect to be a certain way, and they are. You're like, oh, okay, like. So if you go look at me on Instagram, etc., blah blah blah. And then like I fast and I pray and people are like, oh really? I didn't think. And I was like, yeah, why? It's just me. Like I don't have to put everything out there.
No, but it's the same with me, right? Like I go anywhere. Like I said, I'm you know, I very often get quote unquote, they call me a firecracker. Like I'm quite outspoken, as you know, and I have a lot of energy. So we'll go to the end of the night and I'm with like friends and family and someone will come up to me. So I went to one of my really good friends' engagement party last year and her younger brother came up to me at the end and was like, are you gonna drive home? I was like, yeah, I drove here. He's like, are you sure? Because you can stay here if you want. I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, but are you sober? I was like, I haven't drank. He's like, huh? He's like, huh? He's like, are you sure? Because you were the life of that party. I was like, yeah, I don't drink. Like, it's just something I do. And then my friends came and they were like, yeah, she doesn't. And they were like, but she was the party animal and she didn't do it. And I still don't. And thank God I don't need to. But I've had so many instances where people will message the next week and be like, how was your headache? I'm like, huh? I'm sorry. Like, yeah, your hangover. I'm like, how can I have a hangover if I didn't drink? They were like, you didn't drink anything. I was like, no. And I was so cautious about that I would never even let someone buy my drink. So I would go to the bar and I'd order specifically not even tap water, but a bottle from the back that was closed, and I'll watch them open it in front of me and I'll drink it and I'll finish it all there and I'll carry on. Like, I just don't trust people. I've seen too many of these like silly movies and heard too many stories to trust them. But it's just the fact that, and I think it goes back to that like boxing exercise, that you look like that, so you must be like that. That's your box that you sit in. You can't go outside that box. And I guess the whole point of like me and you right now is to be like, well, I'm all kinds of boxes, and I jump between boxes, and sometimes I hop between them, and it's cool. Like, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and all those boxes make up me. You know, and that's fine.
And if anything, this society and being online and technology and kind of just having such a community around us should show that there are so many like dynamics to one person, and there's so many different intricate designs that make them that we should just ask more questions and get to know them, rather than, you know, making pure judgments based on what we see online and then what we see offline.
Exactly, but also I think we have so many resources around us, the biggest resource being each other, to be able to learn about how people are and what they like and what they don't like and what their cultures are. And it's not that hard to ask someone a simple question. I promise you they won't mind. They will mind if you make a baseless accusation or a baseless comment, you know, about them, because that might not be them. That might be how you perceive their culture or religion, but it's not necessarily going to be them, because not every single person is the same, like we said. Hey guys, this is Zoha. Thank you so much for listening to me and my boss babe co-host Sonya. You can slide into our DMs at any time with your questions and feedback on Twitter and Instagram. We are at LKKG Podcast, or you can email us on lkkgpodcast@gmail.com.